Alya wakes up and begins to remove her clothes, and Maria also starts doing the same. Elsewhere, we see Yuki having dinner with a man from the other day, saying that he heard that on the day Masachika participated in the student council, the heir to the Taniyama Industries, Yuki, mentioned that since she competed against Yuki in the student council elections in high school, she expected good things from her. However, it seems that she retired in the middle of the debate. Although Yuki considers that he must have his good reasons, the man says that whatever the reasons, he made Masachika's campaign gain legitimacy, though it doesn't matter who he faces, he cannot lose to Yuki. Yuki, in turn, told his grandfather that this is what he did. The grandfather tells him that he may not have as much aptitude as Masachika, but he knows that a great Don has great responsibilities from which Masachika fled. He was born with an unparalleled talent and privilege, but he got rid of everything, so losing is not an option for him, something that is clear to Yuki. His mother then interrupts him to ask if she and Masachika are still getting along. Yuki says yes. His mother asks if she knows anything about him, and Yuki replies that it doesn't matter, wishing good luck in Yuki's Chinese classes. Later, in her room, she asks Yano to let her hug him, giving him a hug and rubbing her face on his chest, which makes her feel much better, as there is nothing better than a good pair of breasts, right? In class, the boys are eager to blame him for what he did in the debate because they think that Taniyama won because of his argument, but that wasn't the case. He greets Alya and notices that she is still cold, like him. He tells her that the boys want to know about her feat last week. Masachika gave her a nudge to interest her classmates and ask things like whether she wrote her speech alone, and she told them all the strategies she had, though without expecting Masachika's help. The boys couldn't believe that Taniyama left in the middle of the debate and that it was pathetic, something that Alya seems not to like much, and she leaves the place. She goes to find her and asks if it bothers her that they are mocking Taniyama. Masachika tells her that they did nothing wrong, just fought fairly, and there is no need to tell others that it's wrong to talk about her like that. He doesn't tell her that they didn't defeat them, but that they simply left like that. Masachika replies that what really matters is what she wants to do. Alya wants to help Taniyama, so for Masachika, it's fine and they will do it. Alya feels that this will only give Masachika more work, but Masachika only wants to help her, which surprises Alya. Although Masachika noticed a movement, and we see that Kenzaki Chisaki is under the table, apologizing, thinking that this is worthy of a romantic comedy, but he should pretend he didn't notice. He walks towards Alya, and she now thinks that here too there is a romantic comedy scene going wrong in many ways. So the only thing they can do is divert their attention and finally tell Kenzaki and Chisaki how long they plan to stay hidden. Kenzaki appears and apologizes for not having managed to get out in time, while Alya is nervous, unable to say anything but pretending nothing happened. They leave the place, and Alya gets super nervous and runs off to another place. We see Nanoa with her classmates talking about fashion with Masachika at the entrance of the room, wondering if she really has to approach them and her friends, convincing Nanoa to go to a party. She notices Masachika's presence and asks if he needs anything, but he needs to speak to her privately. They go to another place, and Nanoa asks if he wants to invite her out, although she presumes that's not why. She asks him if, maybe, he doesn't like her. Regardless of his declaration, she doesn't tell him that she's now alone and wouldn't mind if it was him. She just tells him that she should go out with someone she likes, but she has never done that, which is very serious to him. Well, Nanoa can't do anything about it because she doesn't understand relationships or love, because he tells him not to interfere. But he says he shouldn't underestimate himself so much, something Taniyama hadn't told him anymore. Nanoa says she's here because she wants to stop people from talking badly about Taniyama, because it bothers Alya. Nanoa says she's a very kind girl, though she asks why he's telling her if she's his enemy. That she's a very mysterious person. She is so interested in her. Nanoa replies what it is. That's why he wants to have her around, because she intrigues him, and since both are cynical attached to optimistic classmates. So the plan is simple. They will spread a rumor giving a valid explanation for Taniyama's departure. He doesn't ask if it is. Be sure, as his victory will be in doubt. Although this doesn't matter to them, it's agreed. Nanoa says no, while he accuses her. This reminds her of a manga where she calls a spy and she appears. just to joke. She appears out of nowhere with Yuki, and they are here because they saw that they approached the enemy. Nanoa then hid under the table to hear everything, because they are crazy. Alya arrives and sees them together with a suspicious look because she tries to apologize for what Alya said to her. He says if it's bad that 3 childhood friends meet, and he leaves saying in Russian how much they left him aside, while we see Nanoa walking and remembering how Tenyama saw her kissing a boy, seeing how Tenyama then kissed him. Slaps for inflaming the prayer, and then comments in her class that Tenyama left the debate because he was angry with her and not because she escaped to another place. We see Masachika explaining to Alya that he only met Yuki and Yano by chance, something Alya doesn't know. She seems to believe a lot. Later, we see them studying and Masachika telling Alya if he's not too close. Alya asks if this bothers him because he doesn't say it since he doesn't see them. That's when Yuki comes to interrupt to study with them and others, saying in Russian that he would prefer to be alone. Later, Alya asks Masachika why Yuki is only reading the solutions to Yano. They say he has always been like this because he prefers to memorize the solutions instead of practicing, which bothers Alya a little. Masachika asks Yano if she has any doubts, but she says no, prefers him to tell her that she is a waste of air than to help her, although Masachika doesn't plan to do that. She asks if they are really childhood friends because they seem very close, even being childhood friends. Maria arrives and gathers everyone to give them her fantastic tea, and Maria sees a book about hypnosis for mannequins that was confiscated and then asks Alya to try it with her, but Alya says she won't do it. So Maria asks Masachika to do it for her. Masachika says yes, and Yuki something occurs to him. Then Masachika asks Maria to focus her eyes on his finger. He will notice that her mind slowly enters a trance, and to keep her gaze fixed there, he becomes very sleepy. Deep sleep. This is how Masachika gives the applause, and she falls asleep there. She doesn't believe him, and when it seems she has fallen asleep, Masachika will undo the hypnosis, saying that when he touches her shoulder, she will wake up so he can touch her, and she wakes up. Maria asks why she stopped when he said he was going to give the applause when she didn't remember what happened, something Alya doesn't believe. Yuki now asks Alya to let herself be hypnotized just so they know if Maria is telling the truth or not. So they start with that, and indeed the pseudonym falls asleep, and Maria too, with Yuki saying this is a perfect opportunity to fondle the breasts to execute his plan of making them undress through hypnosis, which he thinks is crazy to have thought of all this. So Yuki tells them that now they will feel more and more uninhibited, freed from the shackles of common sense, and undresses body and mind. They wake up to approach Masachika and see how Maria is affectionately touching Masachika and Alya. Alya wakes up and begins to remove her clothes, and Maria, in turn, also begins to do the same. This surprises them, and Masachika says that when he touches their shoulders, they will wake up. But this doesn't seem to be working with any of them apparently. Only then does Chisaki arrive, not knowing what is happening here. Yuki comments to everyone that this is happening because of the hypnosis book. Then Shizaki does something with his hands and they fall. Ed asks what he did, and Shizaki comments that what he did was restart the lamps, as they are desperate, not knowing what happened and why they're not dressed. Shizaki asks if he saw, and if he also wants him to restart him. And so ends today's chapter. If you'd like to know how this anime continues, don't forget to comment and subscribe. Until next time, my dear legend.